Monsieur Ernst, avez-vous conscience que tout ceci n'a jamais existé? Cela n'a pas eu lieu. Pas encore.
Monsieur Hernst.
Since this piece was about trauma, what's happening is we don't understand at first that he's trying to reach his consciousness, and at some point we realize something bad happened. And I think it's just about accepting, and sometimes when you don't accept what happened, you just break. And this is what happened to this guy. So for me, it's more about that. It can be funny at some point because it's funny to see him impersonating himself in different part of his life, but it's mostly about accepting and going forward, or trying just to get something that you can never get back.
Who was that girl in the car? Because she had the shoes of one woman and the necklace of another, and a couple references to other. Was this his relationship with one woman or his relationship with women?
67, peut-être 69 ans. Place centrale, les yeux fermés.
Really good performance by this man. With that gesture he kept doing with his hand all through the film, and then we finally understand it at the end when this woman is dying and he ran his fingers through her hair. And presumably this accident was his fault. Maybe he was showing off for her. She drive faster, and he was showing off for her, and because of that she died, and that's why he's lost his memory of everything, because he's just so blocked by guilt over what he caused to happen here. And this other man is the psychotherapist trying to go in there and pull the memory and bring this man back to being himself. So that gesture, that was such good acting from that man.
At the beginning of the movie, when he says, oh, that hasn't happened yet, and obviously, you know, he's showing that he's dying, even though he only says he's sleeping, or that the man is sleeping. You know, I think that maybe the sci-fi aspect is that he's able to have premonitions or some sort of, telepathy, or he's thinking of another person. I don't know, I felt that by the end of the film it wasn't even really sci-fi, it was just imaginative, because you're seeing his trauma and his like flashbacks to different ages through his eyes, and because he's imagining these things and he's like separated from his body, he's also out of time just mentally, and so part of it is things that he's imagined. Like no normal person would remember their own birth, but they can assume and imagine that it happened, obviously, and the same thing with his death. So I thought it was very interesting that we start from his death, and then he like wants to skip over the accident, and the psychotherapist had to bring him back to the accident, and he almost lets her walk away, and then when she turns around, the therapist immediately recognizes, because he's smiling, that he hasn't given up on her and hasn't let her go. And that was very powerful. And then the therapist just takes a sigh and starts again. So that I thought was a really great way to end it.
Yeah, when you disassociate from something so strongly in your life, and you've disassociated through all these moments in your life, you gotta give props to the psychotherapist who's just calmly pulling you back. Gotta say though, there was some humor in this film with that psychotherapist just peering over your shoulder, photobombing every moment. I have to say, hats off to that, because he had to play a very straight character throughout that, no matter what the scene was.
But what I really noticed was that butterfly necklace. How it was on her in the shower. They kept zooming in on it. It was in the car too. I think it popped up in a couple other places. I can't really remember. I feel like if I went back and watched it, I could probably pick it out in a couple other places. But the symbol for the butterfly effect is basically every choice that you make has a consequence and has an action. So I feel like it really strongly portrayed the butterfly effect, because this guy right now, he's going through all his trauma and he's dealing with the consequences of his actions. And I feel like the butterfly did a really good job of representing that.
And yellow being the color of hope.
Yeah, and the yellow being the color of hope.